Hey, what's up, guys? Ash here. Quick few administrative notes. You'll notice that on the channel, I'm going to be revamping the thumbnails just so that it comes more in line with, like, imagine a Diablo 3 wizard build, patch 2.6 or something like that. Something that kind of pops out, and that way, if there are people, and it pops up in their recommended feed, then maybe Troubleshooter can get a bit more exposure. Along those lines, I also want to test streaming on YouTube, just out of curiosity, see how it does. I by no means have like a huge following on either Twitch or YouTube, but I would like to get more exposure for the game for many reasons. Um, the number one reason being that more exposure to the game means more users means more revenue for Dandelion, more revenue means probably more seasons, more DLC, and I personally would love to see this game go further than where it's currently at. If you guys could just imagine all the players that like love Final Fantasy Tactics, love XCOM, love Fire Emblem, if we even had a 10% of those users, this game would just blow up. And you know they'd love it if you love this game. Like back in the day, there were classics that you only found out by word of mouth, like Boondock Saints or Monty Python and the Holy Grail. These were not advertised like, progressive commercials and stuff like that. This was just, it was a thing that spread through word of mouth. That's it. That said, let's get on to the actual video. So, of course, today we're doing Anne and her White Mage. Let's hop right into it. Anne is both the canon healer and the best healer in the game, followed closely by Ray's Alchemist. Her primary job is to keep health at full, keep AT low, and keep vigor high. Right here, you'll see her direct single target healing ability, Starlight, being buffed by Miracle. But even watching this right here, you can see she's giving Irene vigor, she's giving Irene AT, she's giving herself vigor, she's giving herself AT. Exactly what you would expect from a white mage class in this game. Of course, Anne can do much more than heal. She also provides incredible support. Right here, you'll see Call of Starlight, and basically this is her way of getting rid of debuffs on the party. This gets strong enough to where on White Mage she can actually remove mental debuffs as well. But this will clear burn, frostbite, poison, silence, any kind of pesky bleeding that you might have. So on multiple characters all at the same time, this is really great. And on top of being able to remove debuffs, Anne also has an ability called Starlight Prayer, which gives Starlight Shield. This is particularly awesome because it just completely negates the damage from one attack. Um, this is, of course, best used on, like a boss hit incoming. Right here, Scion pissed off Lightning Cron, tries to make up for it, misses it due to auto dodging response, and takes it straight to the face. Starlight Shield, yeah. And apparently this was from my live stream, but you can obviously tell this has incredible use. It will only absorb, I believe, one hit, and it won't do the second hit. But, had Anne not blocked this probably would have been curtains for her. On top of that, Anne can use a spell called Constricting Root. This is going to do area effect, which is pretty awesome. And it's basically going to have roots come out of the ground to shred, dodge, and block by about 20%. On top of that, no movement ability can be used. This is particularly strong on crabs or like the drifter clowns. And this is an amazing ability, but it is on a longer cooldown. Next up, we have Starlight Prison. This is such an interesting spell. So basically, you can take any unit, I believe, besides Machine, and lock them in a prison for roughly 3 turns. And this is great in case you have, like a pesky boss that you don't really want to deal with. And whoever gets locked in this prison then becomes a wall, full cover too. So if you need it for the tactical advantage, it's definitely there. However, most people use this ability for taming. You can, of course, use Anne's Starlight Prison to tame. Just make sure that you begin the taming before you put down Starlight Prison on the target. In fact, most of Anne's kit allows her to be the perfect partner with Giselle for taming. Right here, we actually have Starlight Shield on Giselle, and Gold Tongue, if you've ever tried to tame him, is a savage monster for many reasons. Unfortunately, Anne dies here, but you know her sacrifice was not in vain, and eventually Giselle is able to tame him with only a few deaths. This, of course, brings us to today's Jeopardy. All right, so what can affect a target in Starlight Prison after it's been imprisoned? A. Nothing. B. Giselle's decisive shot. C. Anne's Starlight Explosion. Or D. Leeton's Frosty Wind. I'll give you guys a few seconds to mull that over. All right. If you guys had said B, Giselle's decisive shot, you would be wrong. If you said C and Starlight Explosion, you would be wrong. If you had said A, nothing, you would also be wrong. The correct answer is D, Leeton's Frosty Wind, and this is very interesting. Units that are in prison can still be affected by debuffs, such as if they had bleeding going in, they will still have bleeding inside prison. On top of that, if you have auras such as Leeton's Frosty Wind, it will still give Frostbite if he's adjacent to the target. All right, guys, let's get into the abilities overview. So for her basic attack, she's got Starlight Arrow. It has two particular specialties here. One, it is attack type fall, so you will see a higher hit rate with that, even though Anne might be running, 75% hit rate or something. It is pretty accurate because of that. Two, if you have Bright Light or Shining Light, you will get a 100% chance to activate Blind on damaged targets, and I highly recommend that. It allows Anne to do covers and, kind of protect Scion or whoever might be in the mid row. For general abilities, for Bread and Butter, I recommend Starlight, Call of Starlight, and Starlight Prayer. And these are her three main abilities. Of course, Starlight's going to be your single target heal. Not much to be said there. Call of Starlight, that'll be all of your debuff removal. And Starlight Prayer, which of course will be immunity to one attack, no matter how high the damage. For the fourth slot, I think that White Mage has two real possibilities. Normally, you should probably take Constricting Root, and this is obviously exceptional on Drifter Clowns and Crabs at the moment. And then if you're taming, you should take Starlight Prison for sure. But these two are interchangeable as you see fit. I'm sure a lot of people just leave on Starlight Prison just in case they need to tame. Important to note that all of these count as support except for Starlight, which counts as heal. And all of these are reinforced by Light of Redemption, which is her Castellet Shred by 50%. So, you can see the Castellet very low there. And if you were to add Starlight Explosion, you'll notice that the Castellet is pretty nasty, and that's because it is an attack type spell. Now, it's not to say that you couldn't put this on White Mage, and you can certainly alter Castellet via equipment. But if you really wanted to do this, you should just be on Witch to begin with. If you're really trying to go for an offensive end, it might be cute to do like Area Blind, but on the whole, you will be doing supporting and healing on every turn. And that also goes for the overcharge abilities. So, of course, Starfall is awesome. It's massive radius. I actually think it should be expanded a little bit further. It's 5 range. I think it should be about 7. It should be this giant, like, rainfall heal, basically. But this is pretty much going to guarantee that you get full health to all characters. It can also trigger Miracle on top of it, which means they can get the regeneration and reduction and all that stuff. So, of course, this is awesome and is also supported by Light of Redemption. So normally this would be 60 cast delay. And then, again, for the same reasons as Starlight Explosion, if you want to put on Starlight Arrows, you might as well just go Witch. And if you'll notice, cast delay is nasty on this, but it is a devastating spell. It's very similar to Kylie's Reinforced Attack Protocol. And we'll hit the personal masteries as well. Starlight Fragments, this is a great ability, but again, this is primarily Witch. If you plan on attacking, you might as well just switch classes. However, it is important to note that should you want to do this with White Mage, you could. It is a huge 50% attack ability shred, so you will be able to drop Starlight Explosion from 36 to 18. As well as pouring Starlight Arrows from 90 to 45 and drop the cooldown of the ability by 1. So this is a great ability for sure. You could make it work on white, but you know, it kind of does defeat the purpose of the class. Sincerity is okay. I found this alright towards the beginning of the game, but as SP gets, you know, higher and higher accumulation, I don't find too much use on this, but you could use it. And then, of course, for White Mage, you know, like the saying goes in any good MMO, as long as the tank has aggro, then the healer can heal the tank, and then the DPS can kill the boss. And so, you know, on the times that the tanks don't have aggro, this is exactly what White Mage needs. And, you know, this will, of course, be based on weather for Star Blessings versus weak Star Blessings. But the short version is, if Anne is low on health, she'll get Starlight Shield, which will prevent damage. And this is definitely a good ability for a White Mage. And we have the Mastery board. Before we get into the build, I would like to showcase the class Mastery. Obviously, White Mage uses White Mage Circuit, and this will reduce AT by 10 after using either heal or support. So if you use this to attack, you're not going to get this AT reduction, but this is what White Mage does best, and they've reinforced that, so this is just a great base mastery. You really can't go wrong with this. On top of that, of course, Anne is a Earth ESP user, and this does surprising benefit. You'll see that block is increased by 0.25 per 1 Earth ESP. That means that 10 Earth ESP would be 2.5% block, and that normal overcharge would be 25% block. So that's pretty cool, and she has deceptive block because of this. Right, so this is the Luminary build. Of course, feel free to pause, you know, take a look, take a gander, see what you would throw out, see what you would keep. For Anne's core offensive masteries, we're going to be taking Bright Light and or what is known as Shining Light. Bright Light and Shining Light basically give Anne 100% to blind. And actually, technically, Bright Light and Shining Light give 150% chance to blind. Not that that matters. The game does not take into account beyond 100%. But as long as you have one or the other, this isn't bad. And the reason why, you know, I mentioned this, yeah, she's still a White Mage, but covers and pincers are free. And you'll find that, you know, if an enemy makes it to, let's say, the mid line, like Scion on Black Mage or something, you know, if it's a Drifter Clown, she'll blind them, and that's perfect. You know, that's playing the exact support role that White Mage was built to do. We're also going to be taking White Sandstorm. So along that line or scenario, let's say that, you know, Clown makes it to the back. She does blind it. The Clown then misses, which is awesome. You know, they have bad hit rate to begin with. And then let's say, because Anne has such high AT reduction, she gets up, you know, a few turns from then or immediately the turn after. If she kills the target, which should now be wounded, she'll actually recover an action point while Sandstorm is running. And so this will apply Anne's slowdown effect from Sandstorm to 6 tiles, So that is also about the range that you want to be with her in general for Warmth of Life and, you know, Miracle Shield and Saint, and just everything seems to be about 6 tiles. So that's about the rough positioning that you want to do. All right, and for core defensive masteries, we're going to be taking Saint. Saint is just awesome all around, but in particular, defensively, it's going to expand your Holy Shield to 6 tiles. Along with Miracle Shield, you're going to be basically giving aura damage reduction of 30%. Pretty darn awesome, and you know, it's affecting everybody. And generally speaking, you'll notice a lot of her abilities are within 6 tiles, so you better believe that Anne's positioning, much like Scion's, is very, very important. We're also going to be taking Sandcastle, the obvious reason being that she can cancel out fatal damage. You know, Sandcastle is great in that aspect, but it also has Rock Castle. Rock Castle will basically take physical attack ability, and if it's less than your armor, you take half the damage. So let's say you have 1,000 armor and they hit you for like 800, you'll only take 400. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a staple for Anne White Mage, and you know, just reinforces her defenses as she doesn't have like a massive health pool or anything. And then finally, we're also going to be taking Furious Sandstorm. One, this actually works with a lot of the other abilities, you know, Weathering. Great Plan is going to drop your AT, which is awesome. But defensively, Rock Castle is then going to reduce critical hit damage received by 5% per Earth Mastery. This board has 15 masteries, Earth Masteries, if I remember right. So, you know, if somebody does make it to the back line and they start, you know, pounding down on Anne, she'll be able to take a hit. This is pretty close to the Draki perfect scale. 15 masteries will give you, what is it, 75% critical hit damage decrease. You could also throw on the Draki scale on top of that and, you know, make it 175%. So that's pretty crazy. Of course, Furious Sandstorm is also going to improve Sandstorm again. So, you know, White Sandstorm gave you the 6 tiles. And now it's going to give Strong Slowdown. Strong Slowdown is going to give negative 50 speed, which is just totally nasty. So, playing on the scenario we had earlier where they break through and they're attacking Scion, and you know, it's feeling like it's getting too close to the back row. One, she's then going to cover Scion, which is going to blind, you know, like let's say Clown. Clown already has bad hit rates, so that's just going to murder his hit chance. He's then going to miss. On top of that, his turn's going to end, so he's going to take Strong Slowdown from Sandstorm if you have Scion positioned correctly. On top of that, so he'll be getting negative 50 speed. On top of that, he'll be getting Lingering Infection, which will trigger Decay if you hit with the cover. So he's going to be at negative 70 speed, which, if I remember right, the White Clowns don't even have 70 speed. So that's going to put him at the maximum AT value that you can have per turn. So he will be at basically 0 speed or close to 0 speed, and his next turn will be almost non-existent. On top of that, Weathering is going to improve Sandstorm to basically shred block. Not something you would expect on White Mage, but it is a great ability, and it does really help the whole. You know, it just happens to be a particular thing that adds to it. So with this particular build, you'll get 15% block shred on top of that. So, you know, between that and White Sandstorm, you know, they come in, she does maybe half their life or something like that. They get blinded, they take negative 70 speed, you know, and then, you know, in the next turn, if Scion isn't up by then, if you happen to kill the target, you'll recover an action point while still being able to move, and then after that action point, heal Scion if you did get hit. So all of this works very well together. And then for core support masteries, we're going to be taking Child of Light. This is such a nuts ability. So this is going to take your Origin of Life and expand it to 6 tiles from 4 tiles normally. Child of Light also works extremely well with Warmth of Life, and they kind of just fit right in. It's going to reduce AT on everyone within that range, as well as increase their vigor at the start of the turn. So this is amazing. Holy Shield will now trigger Will of Light. So again, 6 tile Holy Shield, 30% damage reduction, and Will of Light will give immunity to mental debuffs. So you can see this huge amount of auras that she has going on. If an enemy reaches within 6 tiles and they get sandstormed, and they lose speed, and so the whole 6 tile radius is so very important. Can't stress that enough on her. We're also going to be taking Devoting Love, and of course Miracle Shield. Primarily, Devoting Love is going to increase your miracle activation from 30 to 50%. So you'll have a 50-50 chance of miracle. And of course, activating Miracle is going to add a ton of things, to include from Miracle Shield. If you activate Miracle, then you will gain regeneration as well as 10 vigor. And this is a great way to start maps, like right before everything starts going down. Pop this on and just let the regeneration do its thing as you get into the combat. I absolutely love prepping with this, as well as having this go off in mid-combat. So definitely totally awesome ability. Works very well with Call of Starlight as well. So this is definitely like a bread and butter of her kit. And then, of course, be remiss to not add this. Light of Redemption, like I mentioned earlier on the abilities, this is going to be your 50% cast delay time on just heal and support. And then Vigor Needed is going to decrease by 50%. And should really not have any kind of Vigor issues while on White Mage. So that's also a really nice bonus of White Mage. All right, and we have the Luminary Showcase. So right here, and I kind of clipped the video a little too short at this point. Some of you may have seen this video in my other videos, but this is really good and a great showcase for White Mage. So right here, we're on 50 Violent, and Anne is healing Elisa. Elisa is the farthest up at the moment. She'd been taking a lot of hits, so she was at half. Anne got a critical and triggered Miracle, so 5,000 health is going to be instant recovery to full health. This is important because I do believe Blood Destron is up next and would have tried to melee Elisa had she been at that half health. Also, you can see Miracle going off, so of course everyone's going to be getting all the benefits of Miracle, which is regeneration. It's going to be that AT reduction, vigor reduction. You can see it right here. Just totally awesome. And on top of that, you can see Blood Dust Shrine has entered Anne's area of influence, so he automatically takes Slowdown. Slowdown is great in that it affects machines and Destrons, which normally machines and Destrons aren't affected by freaking anything. And so the original target here actually is Albus, and he was going to either shoot or try to melee. I think it would have been a shot. I'm not sure if the melee would have made the jump from there. So Scion does a cover, and the drone starts doing fire support. And so off of those fire supports, Hey Zing is going to start doing fire support. And obviously this is taken during my live stream, so apologies for my random nonsense. Red Destron's going to start countering Hazing because there's so much going on. He's going to start countering the drone as well. And of course that's going to trigger Hazing to do Revenge Fire, which is then going to trigger the drone to do more support. But interesting right here, had Hazing not had Holy Shield, your 30% damage reduction, Hazing would be dead right now. So Anne has already saved his life without Hazing even actually knowing it. And even better, recovery support's going to automatically trigger. This is going to be an off-turn cooldown where Anne can single target heal a teammate. So Hazing's going to go right back to basically almost full, and he's good to go again, even though Anne already saved his life once. And so she's then going to cover because he's targeting Anne. I'm sorry, he's targeting Albus. And then the drone's going to automatic reattack from fire support from Anne's cover. And then Hazing is going to continue his war. It's just, this is such a wild sequence. But Blood Destron should not have walked into the middle of my party. That's madness. And this might also be a great showcase for hazing, obviously. But you can see the effect that Anne had. Hazing would not have gotten up all those other turns. He actually would have died to that second or third wave of shots had Anne not had Holy Shield up. And then, of course, she put him right back to basically full on top of that. This is a perfect white mage showcase, and it's that background that you don't really see, but it's happening all the same. All right, guys, that wraps up this video. Earth ESP users are in a particularly awesome spot right now for AT reduction. It's just totally insane. If you add in Anne's White Mage Circuit, that's 10 AT. Prosperity, that's 10 AT. Great Plains, that's 5 AT. Best Condition, that's 10 AT. That's 35 AT off of her turn right there. It's not uncommon for Anne to have kind of 20 AT turns, pretty crazy on the board, and all she has to do is exist and be at full health, and that's pretty much it, and cast support abilities. White Mage is just such an awesome class, and great support. As long as your teammates can take a hit, she'll be able to heal it up. And even if they can't take a hit, you can get Starlight Prayer and give them invulnerability for one of the big hits. So highly recommend this class, and just love it. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch and soon to be YouTube. And until next time.